You're losing doubles points that you should have won, and it's all due to a decision, a pattern of play, a target that's flipping the script in favor of your opponents. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. So if you're excited for that, do me a favor, click the like button. I appreciate it. It really helps out the video a lot. And before we go back to real life examples, which we're going to spend a lot of time on today, I first need to make sure that you are really solid on some fundamental principles as far as strategy is concerned. There's two types of players in that point that you just saw. There are queens and there's pawns. We have really powerful pieces on the board, and then we have players whose basic job is to keep things moving and not blow it. And so in a one-up, one-back scenario where we have two baseline players and we have two net players, our net players are the queens. They're in a position to be close to the net, be very offensive, be able to very quickly finish a point based on how close they are to the net and how high contact is, which we're going to be talking more about in a moment when we go back to the court and look at the real life examples. When you're back behind the baseline in doubles, you're a pawn. That does not mean you can't hit a good shot. It doesn't mean you can't hit a winning shot, especially at higher level doubles like what we're going to be looking at today. It's possible, but you shouldn't be trying to outright win a lot of points from the baseline position. You're far away from the net. You have to lift the ball upwards, and in lifting it upwards, you give your opposing queen the opportunity to attack and put the ball away. So, generally speaking, when you're in this position, your job is to keep your team in the point and try to set up your partner who's up at the net, broadly speaking. There's exceptions to that, but generally speaking. And when you're at the net, your job is to be as active as possible, be in the face of your opponents as much as possible, and do whatever you can to finish the points and put the ball away. So if that makes sense, let's go right back to the real life examples, and I'm going to show you how a certain pattern plays out and players waste a lot of points. So let's check out this point. Big thank you to Dill Plays YouTube channel. This is 9-5 doubles. That means a 5-0 player and a 4-5 player. And what we're really going to be analyzing here and breaking down is how much advantage does the net player actually have. So going back a couple of shots here, what I want you to notice are these down the line ground strokes that the baseline player on our side is hitting. And what we're going to analyze is how much of an opportunity does the opposite net player have on these shots. When this shot is hit by the baseline player, it travels low. And so the question we want to ask is this player in control? Is there a big offensive opportunity? Is it neutral? That means neither side really has the upper hand, or is it defensive, meaning he's in trouble? For me, on this shot right now, at best he's neutral. The ball's barely clearing the net. It's not a comfortable shot. It's not high enough for him to hit directly at the other side. So he's not attacking, he's not offensive. So in that scenario, who does he want to send the ball towards? Does he want to send the ball towards the queen, the person who's in a position to put it away and attack? Or does he want to hit the ball, sorry about that, does he want to hit the ball towards the opposing pawn, the person who's not in a position to just put it away? Here he makes a great decision. Neutral ball, not offensive, and he goes back to the pawn, the player who's not in a position to just totally finish the point outright on the very next shot. And on the next ball comes back to him again. How about this shot? Is he neutral, offensive, or defensive in this situation? I would say defensive. He's stretched, the ball is even lower than before. Is he in any position to attack and be offensive? No, because of the quality that this player hit over on this side. So does he want to hit to the attacking player on the other side? Or does he want to hit to the defending player on the other side? He should go back to the defending player in this scenario. And he does a good job of that, avoiding the person who could just knock his lights out with the very next shot. So this is an example of good shot selection. I'm in trouble. I'm going to reset the point back to the opposite player who's not in a position to just finish it. It's a great decision. Before we get to the mistakes, I want to show one more positive application of this principle. I'll go ahead and play the point through first. Cross-court exchange, and then we have a net player receiving the ball and attacking and finishing the point. So what's happening here? This time, when the queen, the offensive player on the other side, intercepts the ball, is this offense, neutral, or defense. You should be yelling at the screen right now, offense. He's close to the net. Now the ball is high, as opposed to the previous example where the ball was barely clearing the net. The player was stretched out. This person is stepping into the volley, in balance, close to the net. Ball is high. And so which side of the court, which target should he be picking out? Does he want to hit towards the person who's close to him, who has a small amount of time to respond, and whose feet are right in the bounds of play? Or should he hit to the defensive player, who's set up with twice as much time and whose feet are outside the bounds of the court? Well, another big key principle in doubles is you want to hit down to your opponents as much as possible while forcing them to hit up to you. If you can hit down and force them to hit up the whole match, your chances of winning are extremely good. So in this case here, he has the opportunity to go directly at the feet of his opponent, who has much less time to respond. And in this example, that's exactly where he goes. Could have gone a little bit lower, but you can see the response here by this player. Super competent player, just has no time to react to the ball. He's rushed, and as a result, just can't get his strings on it. The point's over. Had he gone back to the other player, who's way back behind on the baseline, their amount of time to respond would have been much higher, and that would have effectively just reset the point. So now let's look at some ways that players mess this up. If you're loving these analysis videos and you want to improve your game, go check out Essential Tennis Academy. We have a free trial right now where you can check out the whole members area. It's the most complete, comprehensive online system of tennis learning on the internet. Just go to essentialtennisacademy.com and sign up for your free trial. Here's an example where an opportunity is wasted, and this isn't the most egregious or aggressive example we'll look at, but it's a good case study, and one that players, I mean, you probably do this all the time in your doubles. There's two different volleys, two different ways that this player gets involved in the point, and I want you to look at his decision making on each of them. So you saw the first volley, now here comes another volley. So let's look at his setup and his position and the opportunities he has or doesn't have, and then we'll take a look at the decisions that he makes with those opportunities. So here's the first time he gets involved in the point. Right off the return of serve. Now answer please in the comments, what do you think here? Offensive, neutral, or defensive position? What kind of opportunity does he have here? It's not the most obvious offensive ever, but it's clearly offensive. He's really close to the net on his side of the court. He's making contact above the height of the net. It's not the highest ever, but I mean, it's at the top of his head. So he has the opportunity here to absolutely attack, be the queen, and just dominate and clean up and put the ball away. And so where does he target? And by the way, which of these two players on this side would like to get the ball? Does this player want the ball in this scenario with the opposing net player poaching and cutting off the ball? I guess he didn't poach. The ball kind of came right to him. But high volley, do you want the ball in that scenario as a doubles player? When you see your opponent getting ready to hit a high volley and you're at the net, are you saying, come on, hit it at me, hit it at me? I kind of do, because I just really like playing doubles and I love being at the net. But generally speaking, no, tactically speaking, you don't want that ball because your opponent's going to smash it at your feet if they're smart. This player, he's got 2 to 3 times more time to respond. He's far away. His feet are outside the court. This ball literally can't hit his feet. It's impossible without going out. And so what this player does at the net is he hits a nice, aggressive, firm shot, but it's way more on this side of the court than it is on this side of the court. And so that opens up a clear opportunity for the defensive player to make a play at it. And so what this is doing is it's receiving an offensive chance and resetting the point by giving the defensive player a good chance to get the ball. And this happens in doubles constantly. These are strong players. These are 5-0 and 4-5 players, top 10%, top 5% of amateur players. When I watch point play of 3-0 or 3-5 players, this happens like every other point. Somebody has an easy opportunity and they hit it back to the baseline player. Meanwhile, the net player is like, please don't hit it at me, please don't hit it at me. And You don't hit towards them, and it resets the point, and you wasted the opportunity. This is a point that this team should have won on this ball, but instead he gave the opponents new life. I almost forgot. So this shot gets lobbed. Fantastic defense by the baseline player on that side. The point gets rolling again. 5 or 6 shots later, now the baseline player goes down the line, and look at the position that this net player is in now. Would you call this offense, neutral, or defense? Let me know in the comments down below. For me, clearly defense. I mean, he's literally off the ground. He's playing Superman here. The ball is not over the top of the net. It's totally stretched out. And where does he try to hit this ball? Watch what he tries to do with it. He's trying to like scoop it and angle it towards this person, towards the queen, towards the attacking player. He's on defense and hitting it to the offensive player. This is the shot that he should hit to the defensive player. He's in a tough spot. He should be resetting the point. Instead, when he's in the most trouble, he tries to go back to the attacking player. So the choices here by this net player are totally reversed. He took an easy attack ball and hit it to the defensive player, and then he took a very difficult stretching low volley and tried to hit it towards the net player. This is costing you matches. If you're watching right now, I promise you're making some of these decisions. It might not be every volley, but you're doing it. I know because I do it sometimes. Like nobody's perfect. Sometimes we're just not aware and we make the wrong decision. This example is pretty aggressive. This is the type, if I was like coaching these players, I'd be right in there and kind of up in the face, figuratively speaking. If that was the type of like drill group or lesson this was, I'd be so on top of this player for this decision. Go ahead and watch this point play out. And hopefully, like if you've watched this far, you're gonna see what's going on here. Just wasted opportunity after wasted opportunity. And the far side still ends up winning the point, but having to do way more work than is necessary. Right off the return of serve, what do we have here? Offensive, neutral, or defensive situation here for this player on the other side? Obviously offensive. High forehand volley, middle of the court. Who wants the ball? Does this person want to get hit at with this high volley? Absolutely not. The last thing he wants is for this ball to be hit down at his feet. What about this player? This player is a lot further away. His feet are inside the court, but he's got way more time to respond. And so he makes the decision to go towards the player who's better equipped to respond to an attacking shot. And not only that, he hits the ball back in this direction and leaves himself totally exposed down the line. Thankfully, he hit a solid enough volley that he doesn't just get clean passed right off this shot, but he hits to the wrong player and crosses himself up and leaves himself super exposed on this shot. He doesn't put it away. Good defense by the baseline player. And he gets another high volley. Still close to the net. Definitely still an attacking shot. And so again, he's got another opportunity, another decision to make. Do I want to aim for the player who's further away or the player who's closer? The player who has less time or the player who has more time? The player whose feet is easier to hit or the player whose feet is harder to hit? And again, he targets the player who has more time and whose feet are harder to hit. And so now this resets the points and we just go right back to rally cross court, rally cross court. He's given new life to this team. They're having to do more work to try to win the point, which they eventually do. But the point should have been over 4, 5, 6 shots earlier. And by resetting the point, it just makes it that much more work, that much less likely that they're going to win the point. And it should have been one with a pretty routine, easy shot. Do you always win the point when you aim for the opposing net player's feet? No, you're not going to always win, but you need to weigh the percentages. Which is more likely to bring you out on top? And when you have that offensive opportunity, aiming for the other attacking player is your percentage bet. Let me know what you think. If this was helpful, do me a favor and click like. It helps the video out a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the focus of this video? Do you have any questions? I read all your comments. Thank you so much for following along, and I'll see you in the next video.